Hi, everybody. Welcome. So in this session, we're going to introduce you to Samsung Wallet, and then we're going to invite one of our core content players onto the stage to talk about the emergence of Web3 and how wallets play a key role. So let's start by discussing the next generation of digital wallets, the core content areas, Samsung's key advantages, and how you as developers can participate. So over the last few years, I think we've all gotten used to mobile payments. It's been a little bit slower in the US to ramp up than we initially expected, but we're seeing the signs that things are rapidly accelerating. When we started Samsung Pay back in 2015, there was about 25% NFC acceptance, but today that number's grown to about 85%, and all of the tricky situations at restaurants, gas pumps, ATM machines are all being resolved. So as payment acceptance grows and new content such as digital IDs emerge, it's no longer hard to imagine the day when, just like your cassette tapes, your old SLR camera, we can leave our plastic cards behind. And at this point, we'll see enormous growth with wallets, and that day is just around the corner. But the wallet is about more than just payments. A new set of content and use cases will be enabled that will speed up transactions, reduce fraud and friction, and you'll be able to more easily share and manage everything from travel information to home keys to health data and more. So we launched Samsung Wallet to be a single place to securely store and use a variety of content with the same speed and convenience as mobile payment today. IDs, health information, digital keys to access your home, your office, your car, storage of your crypto assets, boarding passes, tickets, loyalty cards, and more. And these important documents are secured by Samsung devices with the highest levels of security using Samsung Knox and ESE. They're enabled for easy access with our proprietary swipe-up capability and made for quick access on the exterior of our Fold devices. Even better, functions like payment are available on our wearables, so I can use my wallet without even opening my phone. So as developers, you'll have the ability to insert content from your services through our open APIs and partner program. We look forward to talking more with you about this. So when we were planning for today's session, we asked ourselves the question, how do we replace a physical wallet with even more robust features for a digital wallet? Looking ahead to the evolution of Web3, this question is now more complex and even more exciting. In the Web3 world, a digital wallet can potentially act as a passport that connects distinct metaverses. We have the opportunity to imagine entirely new types of content and assets that support many different types of blockchain applications, including blockchain-based assets. So to explore this potential, we've invited two leaders in the space to discuss the opportunity ahead for a Web3 wallet. David Lee is EVP at Samsung and the head of Samsung Next, our investment and strategy arm that's deeply engaged in Web3. He'll be speaking with Surjit Chatterjee, who's the Chief Product Officer at Coinbase. Please welcome David and Surjit to the stage.
Thanks, Rob. All right. So I have the enviable and unenviable spot as the last speaker here with Surjit. So we have 20 minutes, so I'm going to sort of jump right into it. So given the time, I'm going to create a two-part question. So you've had a great career at Google, Flipkart, senior positions, huge impact. From your purview as a technologist, what is Web3? Why is it important, do you think? And what led you to make the jump to being Chief Product Officer at Coinbase?
All right, let's jump in.
Yes.
It'll be exciting. All right, I'm going to take a quick walk down the memory lane a little bit.
Okay.
David, you and I both spent a lot of time on internet technologies and a couple of decades or more. It started with Web 1. Web 1 is, many people here may not even remember, AOL and Yahoo, read-only, static web pages. And then it moved to Web 2, which is the web of today, actually, mostly. Think about social media, read, write, interactive web. It's great, actually, because you get a lot of services for free. In return, you upload a lot of your data. You upload your photos, your comments, status updates all the time. And these companies, centralized companies that run Web 2, make their services free. In return, they actually monetize your data. So the challenge with Web 2 that exists today is few centralized companies have unilateral decision-making power on who has access to the network, who can say what, which apps are allowed and which apps are not allowed, how much rev share should you get for your content, your creation, your application, and that's the challenge, that's the problem. So internet, which started as an open network, an open system, is increasingly we see is actually a closed network, is a bunch of walled gardens. And that's where Web3 comes in. Web3 is think about internet kind of reimagined, where the power is back to the people. Mm-hmm. So Web3, a lot of these services that we are talking about in today's internet on Web3, they will be on public blockchains. So there will be algorithms running on public blockchains. The blockchains are actually, it's owned by, it's decentralized, not owned by any central authority. What that means is, your data is yours. You control who has access to the data. You can monetize it the way you want. And I call it the next great movement. Two decades back, a lot of data moved from offline to online, like to the internet. And now data is going to move from online to on-chain. Right? And applications are going to move from online to on-chain. I think everything that you see today in Web 2, all the applications that you love and care about and use it on a daily basis will get disrupted and reimagined as Web 3 applications. And we are talking about multi-trillion-dollar TAM, really, an internet that's even bigger than internet of today.
Wow.
That's what Web 3 is.
That's awesome. And as you're seeing, you probably have, Coinbase has one of the best views of what's happening with the developer ecosystem. What are some, as data moves from online to on-chain, and I'm going to have to steal that one-liner, what are some of the use cases or apps that you're seeing that you say, wow, this is pretty cool, this is something different, this is something that can't be built but for some of the technologies that you mentioned?
Yeah. As I said, we can expect every internet application will get disrupted, but there are few that I think will get disrupted earlier or disrupted first. Three things come to mind. One, a lot of the advertising-based models will get disrupted and will get into creator-based models. And NFT is a great example. And it's not just NFT as collectibles and just buying and selling. There'll be new use cases of NFT, things like NFT-gated, say, real-world events, NFT-gated communities, social media, NFT ticketing. So you're going to see an explosion of use cases like that where creator economies actually take center stage. I think the second one I'm very excited about, we are actually just talking about it backstage, is Web3 gaming. Mm-hmm. There are 3 billion or more gamers in the world, including my 2 kids.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people here.
So your kids play Web3 games? And
not yet.
Yes.
They play
Likewise.
Web2 games,
yeah.
right? Because there are not as, the Web3 games is just coming up, not as usable maybe, but we have seen a ton of investment going into Web3 gaming in last year and even in this year. We have seen a lot of actually seasoned professionals from traditional Web2 gaming world moving into Web3 gaming companies. And I think this will explode, and it'll be a big category in the coming cycle. And the third one, what I talked about is identity. Today in Web2, you think about your Google ID or Facebook ID, a lot of your profile data, your images, your digital footprint, basically, is with some centralized companies. I think a lot of that is going to move on-chain again, and there will be new applications built on top of identity. Imagine if not just your photos and images, but also things like your college credentials, your work history, your credit score, and other data, essential data that today you don't know where that is. It's with someone, somewhere, right? If it moves on-chain and you have control over that data, and you can figure out, or you can approve or disapprove who has access to that data and when, I think there will be a lot of applications of identity kind of driven applications in Web3. So those are the things that I'm very excited about. I think longer term, I think a lot of the two-sided marketplaces that we see today, again, Airbnb or e-commerce, Uber, I can imagine they will actually move on-chain as well, where the coordination happens between multiple sites, not by a centralized company. That's the role these companies are playing, and it's an important role. That will probably be played by an application, by a smart contract on-chain.
And what would be, like in the marketplace example, what would be the benefits of moving it to on-chain? Is it less surprises from the platform owner? Is it lower take rate? Can you talk a little bit about what Web3 technologies can enable with something like marketplaces, which has been such a huge category for Web2?
Yeah. Think about it for a second. Imagine if any of these marketplaces like Uber or others had their, say, drivers and riders actually get invested in their success, right? So got rewarded for growing the platform. Today, a lot of the Web2 dynamics is you have a kind of a competitive relationship with your user because there is a fixed source of value, amount of value you are sharing with your user, like rev share. You can create economies, right? You are giving a rev share for someone uploading a video on your platform. You're taking a 30% rev share for applications running on your platform. Those things will not work in Web3. What will work is how can you create a bigger ecosystem by actually rewarding your users for playing in the platform, because Web3 apps are kind of built in cohort with the user. The user is actually building it together with you, not kind of against you.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that's, there's always, as you know, crypto or blockchain will have these ups and downs, detractors and fans. And I think just the idea of participating and owning as you participate is something that is extremely powerful. And something that I think in the long run is probably underrated in a way. So Rob talked about the wallet, and this is sort of a session about the wallet. Can you talk a little bit about, just from your perspective at Coinbase, how you think about how that technology may play a role in some of the use cases, for example, that you talk about?
Sure. Look,
and I don't know if I prepared you for these questions, so sorry that I'm putting you on the spot.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Look, in crypto connotation of wallet is it's actually your identity on the blockchain.
Yeah.
It's both a payment endpoint and identity. So it's your passport to access any application on the blockchain. Right? Any DeFi app, decentralized app you want to access, you need a wallet endpoint. You need a wallet, right? If you want to store your NFTs, you want to store any objects, you need a wallet, assets or objects. I think what's interesting is the wallets will play a role where it's almost like a platform in the future where it helps application developers develop great applications and reach this user base with wallets. I think for hardware companies, there are a lot of interesting possibilities in what you can do with this wallet.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit more about that, given that we're here at Samsung Developer Conference, and I work for Samsung. What role can Samsung play or other hardware companies play in sort of the adoption and the development of the Web3 ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you have something that Web3 would love to have, which is distribution. Yeah. Right? There are 7 billion phones in the world. I think you gave me the number, 6 billion or more smartphones in the world. Right? All of them are future Web3 devices. Right? Now think about that for a moment. for a hardware company like you with massive global distribution, right, and devices, you can think of embedding a lot of the crypto primitives deeper within operating system, right? All the key management can go into the operating system. Connectivity to multiple blockchains could go into the operating system. Wallet can be embedded right into the OS and can be a doorway for developers to develop Web3 applications. So it's really, if you imagine that world, you can play a huge role here. And some companies are threatened by Web3, right? Some of the ecosystems today are actually making it difficult to run Web3 apps or banning Web3 apps or making the Web3 apps not so useful because they're threatened by the new revenue model that Web3 will bring in. I think for you, it could be, or any device manufacturer, it could be a huge opportunity.
Yeah. And Coinbase is a company that, I mean, you are the originals. I think you were started in 2011, 2012. Can you talk a little bit about just Coinbase's, your vision for Web3 and how you support developers and sort of what role you can play along with other companies?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, today it's just hard to develop Web3 applications, right? And you can see that in numbers. There are like 25 million Web2 developers and maybe only a few tens of thousands of Web3 developers. And the reasons are it's Web3 development is just complex. There are no kind of ready-made tools available. There are actually multiple blockchains. So you have to figure out how the interoperability works. You have to figure out how you move money from fiat to crypto, which is something that we spent a lot of time in. You have to figure out security. Security is a big challenge for Web3 development. Distribution, I just talked about, is a huge challenge for Web3 apps today because some ecosystems don't allow Web3 apps or create a lot of friction. So we are looking at those problems and seeing how can we help. Like on security, for example, which is a big problem, big challenge. We have made a lot of investment. I think we are a company which made probably the maximum amount of investment in security in this space, and particularly in MPC-based technology. Right? And that just helps developer build better applications, access more secure wallets. I think on developer tools, we are creating primitives that makes Web3 development as simple as Web2 development. My son is 14-year-old. He could see a few videos and build a Web2 app in a few hours.
Yeah.
That's not possible yet in Web3. So my dream is, can he get there, right? And same with distribution. We have actually built a Web3 browser, a fast and secure Web3 browser right inside our applications. So our users, we have 100 million or more users, can search and discover any Web3 application very easily and access them. And one sentence will be, look, we're building one-stop shop for Web3 developers to build amazing apps really quickly, easily, and securely.
And I'll ask one last question. I think I have a little bit of time. What do you think is stopping? You're seeing sort of the slope and the increase of Web3 developers. What do you think what are some of the barriers that can be overcome to make it easier for developers to build these apps? You talked about your son who can build a Web2 app. Can you talk a little bit more about these primitives that you're building and others are building, and what sort of some of the tools that developers can utilize in order to build some of these apps?
Yeah, absolutely. I think very simple things. For example, if you want to build an Web3 app, you need to be able to access read-write to the blockchain. You need to be able to query the blockchain. You need to be able to run analytics, run indexing on the blockchain. So simple primitives like that. That's our offering. We just announced Coinbase Node, a product under Coinbase Cloud. Fiat rail payments is a big issue. All Web3 apps have some kind of token economics, which means you have to actually get, say, the native token of the app, or you have to get some kind of a token to play in the app. How to convert your fiat currency into that token. We have launched Coinbase Pay to help developers just do that very simply, like 1 or 2 clicks, and they can do that, or their users can do that. I talked about distribution, which is a huge challenge. We are helping there. How can we showcase developers' apps inside our application, kind of building our Coinbase application as a super app?
Got it.
So those are some of the ways we are helping, and those are some of the big challenges where I think you can help as well. And the developers here, community here can help, because I think Web3 just needs more developers.
Yeah. That's a great way to end it for this session. Again, I want to thank you for joining us. As I said, your company has been one of the leaders in pushing this industry forward. So it's a real honor to have you here to talk a little bit about your thoughts, especially to this audience, which will only grow over time as Web3 develops. So thank you for your time. I'm excited to build the ecosystem together. So
thank you so much. And I'll just say, look, this is the right time to jump into Web3. It's going to be a massive TAM. And sometimes human brain cannot fathom exponential growth.
Yeah.
And that's what we are going to see in Web3. And the timing is right. It's very early, a lot of problems to be solved. And it's perfect for developers to get in early and build amazing apps. And we are there to help. And I'm sure Samsung has a lot in store as well with your wallet product and other things to help.
Yeah, great. No, that's a great note. And it's, again, crypto has cycles, and it's always a great time to build. So thank you again.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Take care.